In June 2022, my wife and I decided to set out on a road trip across most of Canada from Nova Scotia to Saskatchewan. We charged at many different stations along the way and learned lots about taking a road trip in an electric vehicle. On day one, we drove from Nova Scotia across the province of New Brunswick and made it all the way to eastern Quebec. The charge stations in New Brunswick were great. They were close to the highway and easy to find because they were marked by official highway exit signs. They were even located next to an Irving Big Stop with lots of amenities close at hand. All the chargers in New Brunswick worked fine. They started up right away, and we charged at about 45 kilowatts per hour to about 75% state of charge. We decided to stay the first night in a hotel in Saint-Jean-Port-Joli, Quebec. There was a level 2 charger very close to the hotel in a lovely park, so we left the car there overnight to charge. Getting up and leaving the hotel with 100% state of charge, we had a range of 368 kilometers, because even though it was June, the night temperatures were single digits. We drove towards Montreal, but we took the Highway 30 south of the city to avoid much of the heaviest traffic. We charged a few different fast chargers, and in Cornwall, Ontario, we found a SuperCharger brought to us by Electrify Canada, where our little Kona charged at 74 kilowatts an hour. Amazing. Since it was approaching the weekend, we took some of the smaller Ontario highway roads to avoid the traffic heading towards Ottawa. Here we are crossing a one-lane rural bridge in Ontario. There are several things that may impact your expected range in an electric vehicle, such as speed, terrain, and weather. Since we travel mostly on main highways and went the speed limit or slightly above, we got a little less range than we had hoped for. And it was a bit cooler than expected, never getting above 20 degrees most days. This also impacted our range. Just past Ottawa, we hit substantial rain, and this meant another drop in our range efficiency. The charge station that I had hoped to use in Deep River was out of order, and this was rather annoying. So we then drove on to Mattawa, Ontario, where there were 2 different charger stations, with a total of 4 ports, but none of them were working. We tried calling the contact numbers, but the customer service seemed to be lacking. We did not have enough range left to get to our next stop, so we had to stay the night in Mattawa, Ontario, and use the hotel 110-volt outdoor plug to get just enough range to carry on. The next morning, we had just enough range to get to North Bay. We left the hotel with a range of 85 kilometers. Distance to North Bay was 62 kilometers. We were able to drive slow, around 80 kilometers an hour, had enough sufficient charge to get to a level 2 charger at a car dealership. We charged the car while we ate breakfast, which gave us a nice new range of 74 kilometers. This was enough to make it to the level 2 charger, the Ivy station on just the outskirts of North Bay. The Ivy charger at this site was charging a bit slow, so we had to stay 35 minutes. When we left the Eagle's Nest Ivy charger with a 56% state of charge, enough range to continue on down the road. Our next stop was the Petro-Canada fast charger in Sudbury. This charger gave us a charge rate of 79 kilowatts an hour. Wow, amazing. Leaving Sudbury, we had 79% state of charge and a range of 342 kilometers. We continued on to Blind River to another Ivy station, and a good place to walk around and stretch your legs after so much driving. Our next step on the journey was Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. We stopped earlier than usual this day to check into a very nice hotel for some much needed R&R. On day 4 of our trip, we traveled from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario to Ignace, a total of 962 kilometers. We left the hotel at 97% state of charge, with a range of 417 kilometers. However, it was a rather brisk 4 degrees out. Woo, cold. We stopped in Wawa, Ontario, and White River, Ontario. We made a small detour to charge in a station in the town of Marathon. This was a waste of time and frustration. The Petro-Canada fast charger had a card reader error, and the 1-800 number customer service would not correct it. We were able to charge a little bit on the level 2 charger there, but in the end it was a net loss. We traveled on to Terrence Bay and then Thunder Bay. We charged at these stations with no problem. Our next stop was Ignace, where once again the Petro-Canada fast charger was having a card reader issue. Calling the phone number on the charger and following the prompts led to the call being dropped. But eventually we learned about a different phone number and we were able to contact a technician. He rebooted the charge computer and we were soon charging again at 71 kilowatts per hour. We got topped up to 70% battery life and a range of 323. We stayed the night in Ignace in a hotel with gorgeous lakeside views. We also topped up the battery with the hotel's outside 110 volt charger. We left the morning. We had 343 kilometers of range. We stopped for breakfast in the Best Western Hotel in Dryden, Ontario. Here we used their level 2 charger, and after a yummy breakfast we were back on the road with 76% state of charge and a range of 312 kilometers. Our next stop was Kona, Ontario. It was another Petro-Canada fast charger and it worked well. It was very conveniently located in an A&W parking lot. Then we stopped just east of Winnipeg at a Petro-Canada fast charger that worked out fine. Our penultimate stop was in Brandon, Manitoba for a charge at a Petro-Canada fast charger. When we arrived, the one working station was occupied. So after the Audi left, we hooked up and got our charge and drove further west. The next stop was Heatherton, Manitoba, where we used the fast charger at the local co-op store. It looked fairly new and worked great. We charged at a rate of 77 kilowatts an hour. From there we traveled on to our destination, Moosomin, Saskatchewan, where we were greeted with big hugs from our daughter, son-in-law, and grandson. Now, here, take a look at the trip totals. And thank you very much for watching this video and learning about how to drive across Canada in an electric vehicle.